and Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Ainur Karimah binti Ghazali, and today I would like to share with you guys one of my favorite movies which leaves an impact on me as a student and as a future teacher. The title of this movie is Freedom Riders, and I'm going to talk about the overall review of this movie, the issues portrayed, and the solution for these issues. Let's first look at what this movie is about, shall we? Freedom Writers is based on a true story about a teacher named Erin Grewell who has been appointed as a new teacher at Woodrow Wilson High School. She was then assigned to several classes as an English teacher, including the class 203, where the students are diverse and are labeled as problematic and at-risk students. Throughout the movie, she faces a lot of trouble and mishaps in her new journey as a teacher as she struggles to form a bond with her students in class 203. Erin, however, never gets discouraged and keeps on trying to build on the relationship between her and her students and gaining their respect as well as trust. Hence, I like this movie as Erin Gruel inspires me to become a teacher as passionate as her in teaching students with her ongoing perseverance. Moreover, as this story is based on a true story, it gives me hope that every problem, no matter how big it is, will have a solution for it as long as we are willing to face the problem instead of avoiding them. Moving on, I will now list out the issues that I've managed to extract from this movie. From classroom management issues, the first issue that I found is the classroom arrangement or classroom seating. In this movie, their classroom uses offset style seating arrangement where it is hard to keep students focused on the teacher. This is because the offset style seating arrangement will have the action zone happen in this seating, where only the front and central students will have their focus on their teachers. The second issue is the students' cooperation. Class 203 students do not abide by classroom rules and make noise in the classroom. They ignore Mrs. Grewell and make inappropriate or rude remarks towards her. The third point is dealing with problematic behavior. Tito made a racist remark when he drew a person with thick lips who is actually Jamal. He passed it around the class before finally giving them to Jamal.
No sense of direction.
Now, none of these sentences are correct. I'd like you to rewrite these sentences using proper tenses and spelling on page 4 of your worksheet.
I won't have page 4. That's not.
Okay, why don't you just use the next blank page? What's going on? What is that? To me.
Next, students' motivation issues in this story includes 1. Students in the movie lack motivation to come to school. This is because some of them are forced to attend school or they will need to go to a camp, such as Ava's condition. Next, the condition of the classroom, the book given to them, which are torn books and lack of classroom facilities just because they are not smart students or at-risk students. The schools and teachers' perception towards them as they are known to be involved in a gang or a game because they are not smart is the reason why they lack motivation to come to school. The second point is students who come from different or complicated family background. Most of these students are forced to join a gang because of their family, not by their own choice. They are also conflicted to make their own choice because they are restricted and have these responsibilities to not betray their people and their family. The third is students who have trust issues. These students have trust issues because they are too scared to put their trust in someone other than their own people. They grew up in an environment where they only have their own people who backs them up, and they will get hurt when they put trust in someone else. From the issues that I've mentioned just now, we can actually relate this with Abraham Maslow's theory, where he said that certain basic needs must be met before higher needs can be satisfied. The reason for this is because we can see that these students did not manage to get even the basic needs they need to acquire self actualization, which sits on the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. These students struggle to even get psychological needs when some of them do not have proper place to sleep. For example, Marcus only lives in a small room that is cramped and lacks safety for himself as it was located in an alley. This then led us to the second tier of the hierarchy, which is safety and security. Students in the classroom do not have a stable family as most of their family members are in jail or involved in crime. These students too did not have a chance in having normal friendship or any sense of connection with people as they are tied with their vow to their gang and responsibility to follow their family's footsteps or tradition, such as the case of Eva, like I mentioned before. The fact that the school and teachers are being prejudiced towards them and them not receiving proper material like everybody else, such as the school only providing them with torn books, only worsen the situation and thus lowering their self-esteem. Finally, according to Abraham Maslow's theory, when these needs are not properly achieved, it makes it almost impossible for these students to achieve self-actualization. I will now talk about the solution of all the issues I've mentioned. For the issues of classroom management, Mrs. Grewal changed the seating arrangement from off-seating arrangement to teachers without borders, which allows her to move freely in front of her students, and students can also have a more interactive discussion with their peers as they are facing with each other. She also made sure to be fun yet stern at times by abiding by the rules in the classroom to remind her students that she is still their teacher. Next, she made it clear that she will not tolerate racism or any racist remarks when she sternly addresses them during the time Tito made such remarks towards Jamal. Next, Mrs. Gruel handles all of the students' motivation issues very well when we are showed with her working a second job just to buy new books or novels for her students as the school refused to do so for her students. She also redecorated the classroom to make it more class-like as how a class should be to make sure her students feel more motivated to come into a classroom that is in a good condition, not shabby. Mrs. Gruel also gives them books which act like a diary for them to write their feelings every day, which helps these students to ease the burden of keeping their problem and stories to themselves. This automatically helps her to gain their trust by not reading their diary and will only read if they place it inside the cabinet. This helps her build a bond with her students as she gets to know her students better. Mrs. Gruel also changed the standard syllable class material with something that is easier for her students to understand and relate to. She also brings her students to a school trip at the museum to expose her students to the reality and history of Holocaust after she knew that they do not know a thing about Holocaust. Aside from the solutions shown in the story, I would also like to add some of my opinion or point of view on what I would do if I ever face such issues. Firstly, I would try to create a reward system where students will receive a reward for anything good or they are doing. Maybe in this case, if they submit their assignments on time, coming to school regularly, or staying quiet in class, they will get a plus point and get something in return. However, I'm also going to make sure that this motivates them without making it competitive among the students as stated by Tingling. Next, I would ask them to write one good thing that happens to them every day so that they realize that not every day is going to be dreadful. To conclude, I believe that this movie is a great movie for both students and teachers to watch as it tells both sides of the story from the perspective of a student and also the perspective of a teacher. The teacher should try to make use of Mrs. Gruel's ways of teaching and her technique as she manages to change the behavior of her students. Her techniques will surely be of a great help in today's classroom situation. On the other hand, students should learn that nobody can define us. We are the one with authority to decide what we want to become regardless of our background. In addition, as a student, we must always be respectful towards our teacher because they are the one who teaches us. And even in Islam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Laisa minna man lam yarham saghirana wa yujilla kabirana wa yafi li alimina," which means bukanlah termasuk golongan kami orang yang tidak menyayangi yang muda, tidak menghormati yang tua dan tidak mengerti hak ulama kami. Riwayat Ahmad dan Al-Bazar. From this hadith, we can see that it is important for one to be respectful towards teachers and how Islam looks up to those who relays knowledge to others. Before we part ways, again, I would like to urge you guys to watch this movie as you will learn a lot from this movie just like I did. That is all from me. Thank you for listening. Until we meet again. Bye bye.